everyone, welcome back to myindybook.com. Yeah, well, I just got back off vacation from Clearwater, Florida, and just wanted to say it was wonderful down there. And of course, I'm kind of casual, got the sunglasses on. Hey, I haven't quite got back off vacation yet. But I will have to say one thing. When we were down there, we met some folks down by the pool, and they became friends of ours for the week, our vacation friends. Anyway, he is from Wisconsin, and so is she, and he likes hunting. So in talking to him, he really had a lot of great things to say about the Yeti product. He has something like 38 Yeti mugs, and I think that's absolutely awesome. They seem like a high quality mug, and so great that my wife and I decided to go out and get two while we were down there. And I have to say they did a tremendous job. They were really great at keeping things cold. And I was impressed, quite frankly. So, but it got me to thinking. There's a lot of other competitors out there, and some of them cost a whole lot less. And, you know, if you're just trying to keep your stuff hot and your stuff cold, then maybe we don't need to spend so much money on these. Or maybe we do. Maybe there's something to it. So I went ahead and pulled out some contenders here. And all of these mugs, none of these are microwave safe because they are made of metal, so they would really mess up your microwave. However, there are some differences when it comes to dishwasher safe. So let me pull up the first challenger. The first challenger is the Yeti. This is my wife's Yeti. Mine's black, but hers is a lot prettier than mine, so I decided to use hers in this challenge. And the Yeti is $29.99, and it is dishwasher safe. The second contender is the Corkcicle. The Corkcicle makes a nice mug. Also recommended to hand wash this Corkcicle. Now my wife sometimes does put it in the dishwasher. However, it is recommended that it's hand washed. That's Corkcicle's rules, not mine. And the Corkcicle is also $29.95. This next one that we have is the My Bevi. Okay, the My Bevi is a little bit, has a unique lid on it, has a little bit of a bigger lip to it. The My Bevi is actually $14.99, and it is recommended that you hand wash this also. It's not recommended to be dishwasher safe. And then the last contender here, which is really kind of off the beaten trail, you might say, is the Ozark Trail from Walmart. Okay, so the Ozark Trail from Walmart is $6.74, and it comes with this lid, but this lid does not close like the other competitors do. So I felt like for this challenge to put ice in it to see how much the ice melts, it wouldn't be fair to use this lid. So I had to pay $6.74 for this, and then I really had to pony up the extra $1.50 for this closable lid that they have as an option for it. Now, obviously, this lid does not feel as quality as the other lids. I'll get into that more at the end when I'm going over what I like and dislike about the mugs themselves. But for right now, we've got our four competitors here. We've got the Ozark Trail, the Corkcicle, the Yeti, and the My Bevi. And we're going to see which one wins this ice challenge. All right, welcome back. So we're 5 hours into our test, and we're going to see what happens here. We're going to start with the Yeti first and see where we're at. Oh my goodness. Okay. Barely enough to get the bottom wet, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you can see that or not, folks. But that's 5 hours, and that might be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10 milliliters maybe. It's a little bit below that line. Yeah. Yep, 10 milliliters. We'll just say. It's a little below the 10 milliliter line, and it's probably about 5. About 5 milliliters, okay? So we got 5 for the Yeti. Let's see what we've got here for the Corkcicle. There was more in the Corkcicle, actually quite a bit more. So it looks like with the Corkcicle, it's a little hard to say actually. Let's see here. It looks like it's about 20 milliliters. About 20 milliliters for the Corkcicle. So Yeti 10, Corkcicle 20. All right, let's see. Next one we have is the My Bevi. Looks like about the same as the Corkcicle. Looks like that one is right at about 20 milliliters. So we got 20 milliliters for the My Bevi, 20 milliliters for Corkcicle, and 10 for the Yeti. All right. Now our last contestant here is the Ozark Trail. Wow. And it seems to be in the 5 to 10 range, just like the Yeti was. You see how much that was? Very little that came out. So 5 to 10, just like the Yeti. So currently we have the Yeti at, say, 5 to 10. We have 20, a solid 20 from Corkcicle, a solid 20 from My Bevi, and 5 to 10 from the Ozark Trail. Kind of shocking, isn't it? So we'll see you in probably about another 5 hours. I'll run this again. Maybe 10. I may run it 10 hours. Here we are 10 hours after my last measurement. So it's 15 hours now. These cups have been sitting here full of ice for 15 hours, and we're going to see how much water they have in them now. So I'm just doing this to break up the ice so that the water comes out a little bit easier. All right. So the Yeti, which was our leader in the last test, 50, 60, 70, 80. 80 milliliters. So it produced 80 milliliters of water from the ice. And there's still quite a bit of ice in there. I don't want to take the lid off because I don't want to ruin the results, but there's probably half of the ice is probably still in there. So 80 milliliters is what we've got there from the Yeti. Now the Corkcicle seems to be depleting at a much higher rate. So the Corkcicle looks like it is right at 100 milliliters. So 80 for the Yeti and 100 for the Corkcicle. Let's see what the My Bevi has. The My Bevi is actually over 100 milliliters there. So it's just a little bit over 100 milliliters, so I'd say like 101, 102 milliliters on the My Bevi. So we've got 80, 100, 102. And the last one is the Ozark Trail from Walmart. And we'll see how well it does. Last time it was tied with the Yeti. So you've got 50, 60, 70, 80. 80 milliliters, still tied with the Yeti. So right now, the way it stands right now, we have the Yeti and the Ozark are tied with 80 milliliters. And the Corkcicle and the My Bevi are right at 100. The Corkcicle's a little less than 100, honestly, just maybe 98 or something like that. And the My Bevi is about 102. So we'll see what happens in about another 10 hours.
Hi guys! My dad is at work, so unfortunately he won't be here to review the cups this time, but he'll be back tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with the Yeti. So we have almost 100 milliliters. And there's still ice in the Yeti. Now we're going to move on to the Corkcicle. And in the Corkcicle, we have a little over 100 milliliters. Now the My Bevi. We have a little bit over what the Corkcicle had. So over 100 milliliters. And lastly, we have the Ozark Trail. This one we have almost 100 milliliters. So that's all the reviews for now, but we'll be back tonight to give you an update. Bye!
Obviously, Allie Jo stood in for me earlier today. I think it was around 5 o'clock is when she decided to do the measurements on the cups. And at this point, I started this at 3:15 the day before. So the 5 o'clock measurement was over 24 hours. And here we are at 9 o'clock at night the next day. So I'm going to go ahead and pour these out. I'm going to kind of call this a little bit. So I'll show you how much ice is left in each one to just kind of let you see how it all worked out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Yeti, shake it up, and just see how much water is left in it. Okay, so the Yeti from 5 o'clock till now, 40 milliliters. That was about 40 milliliters for the Yeti. So the Yeti has consistently yielded less water, so it's done a great job. Let's see what the Corkcicle comes up with here. Oh, it actually doesn't sound like there's a whole lot left in that one. The Yeti still felt like it had a lot of ice, but we'll find out. So there might be less water coming out of these now because they've already given up a lot of water. However, that's at 40 milliliters also. So the Corkcicle is at 40 milliliters. This feels like it has very little ice left in it also. This one is right at about 40 milliliters also. Okay, and our last contestant is the Ozark Trail. And that one has about 40 milliliters. Now, here's what I'm going to display here just to give you kind of an idea so you have a visual of the amount of ice left. So I'm just going to take the ice out of the Yeti here. So this is 24, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's 24, that's 30 hours. This is about 30 hours roughly, folks. And there's that much ice left from the Yeti. Can you see that? That's pretty impressive, I have to say. 4 nice big chunks. Okay. The Corkcicle has that. Not a whole lot left. Okay. See how much the My Bevi has. My. Even less. My Bevi has even less than the Corkcicle, which is kind of surprising because this has a screw-on lid versus the push-on lids. And the Ozark Trail, holy cow, has a big old glob of ice left. I'm going to pour this into here because I'm curious to see how much is left in these two. The Ozark Trail may have a little more ice left in it. I don't know. They're pretty close. I would say they're neck and neck. And honestly, I'd say that these could have probably gone, I would say at least the Yeti and the Ozark Trail, they could have gone on probably till in the morning, as you can see there, based on how much they're melting. So we'll go ahead and recap this in just a minute, but I just wanted to say, I think we've got a winner here. The clear winner is the Yeti and the Ozark Trail, and I would say they're tied. What do you think? All right, everybody, we've just completed the ice challenge in the insulated tumblers that are out there today. This isn't all of them, obviously. It's not exhaustive, but it does seem to be the top players in the game. So I actually ran this test for 31 hours. So just keep in mind, folks, that this is 31 hours worth of time spent to find out how much ice melted during 31 hours. As the ice melted, I poured the water into a container and measured the milliliters that had melted. So obviously the cups with the most ice should win this competition, the ones that were left at the end of 31 hours. And you saw that in that last episode. So in this one here, I kind of want to go over the pros and cons of these cups and give you the outcome of the results. So the first place, the whole thing that started this all off was this Yeti. Okay, and I have to say that the Yeti did a very nice job. The Yeti ended up with 225 milliliters of water. This cup is priced at $29.95 in most places, and ended up with 225 milliliters of water drained from it over 31 hours, and it still had ice in it. So pretty impressive job done by the Yeti, and that was enough to garner it really a tie for first place, but I'm going to put it in second, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Really the first place finisher, in my opinion, was the Ozark Trail. The Ozark Trail is the Walmart brand insulated beverage holder, and it actually matched the Yeti with 225 milliliters in 31 hours. I'm not as thrilled with the lid. I'll get to that in just a minute. But for the price of $8.24 versus $29.95, I have to say I have to put it in first place. So that leaves the Corkcicle and the My Bevi left to be uncovered here. And the Corkcicle did 287 milliliters of water, so it had quite a bit more water that was drained off of it. It is also listed at $29.95, and then the My Bevi came in last with 292 milliliters of water, and it is $14.99. Now, keep in mind that it seems like a lot because there's probably 70 milliliters of water that was difference in these. These two came in tied, and these two were quite a bit off, but you have to remember this was 31 hours of sitting. So none of these are really bad. My wife had to keep me grounded with that because I was like, oh, the My Bevi lost, but it didn't really lose. 31 hours of cold water, and these still had some ice in them after 31 hours, just not as much as these. How can you go wrong with that? So really it's just a matter of preference when you get down to that point. So I'm going to start with the My Bevi. The My Bevi has kind of a slick feel to it. It's not the matte finish that these others have, so it's a little bit slicker. And the lid has a very large lip on it, if you can see that. The large lip makes it easier to drink. It does feel more like a regular glass when you're drinking out of it, even though it doesn't look like it. You don't get that fear of burning your lip when you're drinking hot stuff because it gives it time to get to your lip without burning it. And the lid actually feels fairly smooth. It feels like a decent quality lid. And this is the only one of the four that actually screws off and screws on, which in my opinion is probably better over time for leakage. I would probably place money on this one taking a fall and not leaking in the floorboard of your car after it flipped over some of these others after you've had them for a while. The Corkcicle has a nice feel to it. It's also got like a matte finish, but it also has edges to the sides, which makes it feel really good in your hand. It's easy to grip, especially if you have smaller hands. The lid on it to me feels a little cheap. It's not quite as nice as the others, And so that's kind of the idea behind the Corkcicle there. The Yeti, for me, this is still my favorite of the four, honestly. I like the way that it feels. It has a matte finish. I like the way that it looks. I love the etching on it. I love the color combinations. Mine, like I stated before, is black. This is my wife's. And I love the lid. It's got like a magnetic lid in it. It makes it really easy. It feels very high quality, and it's easy to drink out of. I love the Yeti. I think it's phenomenal. The Ozark Trail from Walmart, like I say, this just the cup itself is $6.74, and the lid is $1.50. And what you see is what you get with the $1.50 lid. I mean, it's a pretty cheap lid. Okay, it's not very nice. It's just very easily constructed. It's kind of cheaply made. It works, and it's okay to drink out of, but it wouldn't be my favorite. Now, one thing that I did notice in doing this is this lid can come off, and you can buy Yeti lids from the Yeti store, and the Yeti lid fits perfect right in the Ozark Trail. So if you did like the Ozark Trail, you could probably switch that lid pretty easily because they're very similar in their tops. The one other thing that really set these apart for me personally was the Ozark Trail and the Yeti both state on the cups that they're dishwasher safe. The Corkcicle and the My Bevi both recommend hand washing. They do not recommend dishwashing. Not to say you can't. I'm just saying that that's what the manufacturer says, and these say that they are dishwasher safe. So for me, that's a big deal breaker for these for me. It isn't for my wife, but it is for me. So that's really all I've got here. If you got any questions or comments, shoot them below, and I appreciate you tuning in and watching.